Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay able to go longer than everyone else, but he said on the radio, this better pay off with us staying out longer than everyone else. They talked about a wing adjustment. They vetoed that wing adjustment and a crash on the track.
Huge crash on the front straightaway. Looks like Connor Daly and I believe Joseph Newgarden. Big hit coming into the tri-ovals.
The roll bar on the top, the roll bar on the car did its job. It's smashed up, but it is still intact.
Up at the top of your screen, Connor Daly loose.
Connor got loose.
Oh!
And Connor just got loose, corrected, and went up into the track into Joseph, and now Joseph's upside down, and the front spins around, and Connor's car pushing it right into the wall, into the safer barrier. It's a good thing that was safer barrier and not concrete.
Which Connor's car snaps. Watch this. He gets loose, and now he's going to correct. Wow.
Vicious crash.
A little bit of what you're looking for from the car. On its roof. This is not good. That's one of the Shelby Power Racing cars. And that's the McLaughlin car. Up on its roof with the right rear wheel missing. It's made huge contact with the wall. Now let's see what happened here on the replay. Oh my goodness, that is a shocking angle. That is a nasty, nasty angle. And that has gone in very, very hard. This is a game changer. It's the onboard. Let's look and listen. Got the left-hand wall.
Oh, Ward goes around and hits the wall, up in the air. Heavy contact for Patricio Ward.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
He's at the middle of the backstretch of between turns 2 and 3. And good to see him climbing out of the car and looking.
So he first hits with the front on the top. Oh. Boy. Lucky not to flip the car.
Yeah, it started to go over, but it stayed on the ground. And IndyCar has done some things to try to keep the cars from getting too far up in the air. And it started on that process, but didn't get too far off.
Oh, big crash! Felix Rosenquist! Oh my goodness!
I bet I know where that is. I think that's onto the back straightaway. And what we've seen in years past is a driver hitting the right front on the concrete wall at the apex. And it looks like the front end of the nose pretty heavily compromised. Let's see if my theory holds true. Oh boy. Almost went out of the park. It's right on board.
It sounded like the throttle stuck.
Holy cow. The throttle did stick.
Has announced.
Oh, big smoke. Oh, and a spin. Castroneves going into 1, into 2. The engine let go. He got in the oil, backed in hard on the outside wall.
So Elio Castroneves, after an incredible run and a pretty good shot, as Montoya suggested, at the win here today, has the engine go. And what does that say about DeFerrin's engine? Very, very carefully. While we've heard nothing from the scene, that appears to be precautionary, but still they want to be careful. You see that, the way he got into the wall there at nearly a 90-degree angle, that's a lot of energy transfer.
Evaluation, we certainly hope that's the same case with Elio Castroneves.
And as you've said, that's an enormous hit, like up at 225, 227 miles an hour.
He didn't scrub off much speed, Paul, and I imagine top speed was in excess of 240 miles an hour on the way in there, because as I said earlier, they're at full power. They're now using all the revs the engines have because fuel is not a concern. He had a great draft from Moreno coming down the front straight. He went in there full throttle, I mean absolutely flat out.
But Simon Pagenaud shows his speed right away.
But Alexander Rossi pretty well smoked on the front straightaway. Now Ryan Hunter-Reay is to the inside. Huge crash. Hunter-Reay, Sato. Oh no, and Rossi is in it.
A lot of cars.
Up in
Rossi
the
in it.
fence is Rosenquist.
This is disastrous for Rossi in the championship. His teammate was involved like he was last year in turn 2. Sato's involved. Car upside down with Sato's car.
On fire, too.
Already banging wheels already. So close, but here, watch Sato, and then he just turns on him.
Oh, and Hunter Ray was kind of tight
Rossi
down below.
No steering for Rossi now.
I think everybody was trying to go after the single car toe, the draft from Scott Dixon. You had 3 wide and 1 in front. Hunter Ray on board.
Passing his teammate here, so he's on the inside clear of him. Then watch Sato he tries to shoot that gap, and it was not there.
Not
so
on at all.
I would say at this point, Ryan Hunter-Reay saying, I might be done with Pocono. 2 really scary crashes in 2 years.
Sato collected just about everybody, and it sends Rosenquist up. So similar to Wickens last year. He's so lucky that that didn't get into the fence.
Caution, turn 2. Trouble, oh my goodness, what a huge crash. Scott Dixon is in it.
He doesn't really use the safety fencing. He lands on top of it.
Obviously, part of the car got into it to rip it open, right?
Yes, but he landed. Yeah. Oh my! I have never witnessed an accident like that.
You know, we talked about the number 3 of Elio Castroneves going underneath Scott Dixon's car. Remember, it was Elio a few years ago that ended up going airborne between turns 1 and 2 and walked away from that incident as well.
On the top right there. On the top, load.
Showing us for the 2nd time in this month of May what these drivers put on the line when they race at 220 and 230 miles an hour here at the most famous race course in the world.
I think we were running a little quicker than we expected. That was a good problem.
Goodness.
He had big speeds going, was averaging mid 231s. It snapped loose, it wiggled on him. He caught it and it pancaked the wall. So similar to Sebastian Bourdais.
Palou, thankfully, able to hop out right away under his own power. That AMR safety team with him right away.
It wiggles and boom.
You know what? Heck of a save. He just ran out of road. Because that first catch right here, Paul, look at this. This is
that's Tokyo Drift right there.
Got some talent behind the wheel. Then it wiggles back. Then it steps out again. At this point, man, you'd need the golf course to have enough room to save it. And that car is done. That should have been a big sign right there.
Yeah, it was super free, that car. It was on the ragged edge.
Ferrari have made big gains on their latest engine upgrade package.
Oh, something's off.
Oh, that's a big crash as well. And that's the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson.
I noticed it was a bit wet on the left-hand side, and I wonder if he's been caught out by that, but that's massive.
The crowd cheering like crazy as Marcus Ericsson tentatively gets out of the car from the right-hand side. And they're quite important. I've just done the hot laps down there.
Sorry, Martin. We're just another replay is just being shown at the moment from on board Marcus Ericsson's carpool, where you can really feel that he just was a complete passenger there, and see the marshals scurrying for cover as the car came hurtling towards them. There was one marshal that actually looked to be in front of the barrier. There's a catch fencing there to protect some marshal, but one marshal is actually in front of the barrier.
Montoya is used to this situation, James, sitting behind his safety car. Obviously in American racing, there's a lot of that goes on. The format really was to keep the tyre pressures up, keep the car... Oh,
well,
something's
big
off.
incident, yeah, it's one of the Saubers. It must be Nick Heidfeld's a big accident. Heidfeld flies off in the background, and he's been hit by one of the Jordans. I think it's Takuma Sato. Oh, that's huge damage. We've only just gone green here in Austria after a safety car period. Are we going to have another one, I wonder?
A little bit strange there, James, because you see that they look like one of the Minardis there locked up very badly, a lot of smoke. Heidfeld's reacted, but it didn't lock his car up, did it? It looks like he didn't even get on those brakes. There was no smoke, there was no tyre marks, and the speed didn't decel at all. He just took Sato clean out. That would have been a big shock.
Santino Ferrucci.
And the Rahal Letterman Lanigan car had just gone to second quick a little while ago, and Ferrucci has made pretty significant contact at the exit of turn 2. Santino Ferrucci, you can see him beyond the safety truck, climbed out on his own.
Got something bothering him with his left leg, either knee or ankle perhaps, for the guys to fix. But yeah, he lost it really early on, Kevin.
Let's see it real time again.
And there is Will Power's car. And we're going to go on board with Will and give you another perspective of exactly what happened in this 15-car melee.
And Eddie, as we know, when you're driving along at these speeds, you're going the length of a football field in less than a second. So if something happens in front of you, you can never have enough reaction time.
It's impossible. You have no time to do anything. What happens maybe is just a small miscommunication between two drivers. Somebody spins and you have 20 cars that arrive on the scene at 220 miles an hour. It's physically impossible to do anything, and things like that tend to multiply themselves.